Hello, my name is Lisa, and now we're going to work on a medieval illustrated letter T shape. We are working with the assistance of Zuzu the cat, who has decided that this is the perfect time to be curling up exactly in the art space and to help me with all these art projects. You are such a good kitty. Such a good kitty. Yep, do you want to look under there, just in case something exciting's under there? Alright, so get some watercolor paper out. You're gonna help with that? Oops, cat just knocked the brush on the floor. Oh, you are so helpful, kitty. Where did you even make the brush go? There it is. Alright, got the brush, got the paper. So we're going to be doing this with pencil first. We're going to be tracing it over with a waterproof pen, and then we're going to be painting it in with watercolors. And since we're going to be painting watercolors on top of it, it is important that the pen is waterproof, because otherwise when we added the water, the pen ink would smear. So we got an eraser, got a pencil. The cat is finally settling down over in the mouse pad area, so we actually get some space to be able to work with. Let's think about a letter T. So a letter T in current days is often just a vertical pillar and a horizontal pillar. But in medieval times, the way that I like it has a big swoosh around the outside. So let's start by putting in a top part. Alright. And then the curved part. Alright, that's not quite the curve I want for it. That's why we do these things in pencil, so that we can see what happens. Alright, so I want it more like that. I want it to bow out and then in, but I think that means that this outer part has to bow out more. Alright, that's better. And then this part here has to bow out at the middle of that archway. Alright, that's better, but it's still not right at the top. There we go. Alright, so it's more of what I was thinking. And often there is a vertical piece. Alright, so that's pretty T-shaped. Alright, anytime I see vertical shapes, I think about having vines trailing up them. So I will start a vine over here. So then the vine goes in front of and behind the shape. comes up there to have some blossoms. Some leaves. Some little windowy things. There's a little butterfly over here. Curl there. Alright. T's got a bit of a lean to it, but I like that. Sort of feels like a ship in motion. Alright. So once you get the pencil parts down, we're going to do the pen and ink part. So again, for the pen and ink, you want to make sure you use a waterproof pen, so that when we go dragging watercolors over all of this, it does not smear the pen and make a black mush out of everything. And the pen goes on wet, and while it dries quickly, you want to be careful that you do not smear it with your hand while you are moving around on the paper. So let me know in the comments if you have any questions about any of this. I'm happy to help. Alright, so now we've got the ink done in. We'll give that a moment to dry. While ink may seem like it dries instantly, it does take a few moments to dry, and it's better to give it that drying time. So now to think about what colors we want to use. I think I'm going to go with blue for this one. And I'll go with the phthalo blue, which is this one right here. So we use phthalo blue. The main gist of these shapes. Alright, the main T over here. Just trying to figure out which angle to be able to get to things at. To work around all of these little O shapes that I've created. It's good to get familiar with how your hand works best and what angles work better for getting into which nooks and crannies. So that way you can make sure you turn your paper so that you can best get to the areas you need to quickly while the water is still drying and everything will still flow together properly. Alright, so we're just filling in the blue around the edges. Alrighty. Alright, so the base shape of the T is blue. I think I want to make the pole area a darker gray. think this is going to need a coat or two to get to the level of gray that I'm looking for. But that's alright. Watercolors are about layers. And these layers of color in there. Alright, so while that's drying, I can put in some green for the leaves. I think I'll make the butterfly yellow. What color should I make the little hole things? I can make them a bright color like yellow, but I think I will make them darker violet. Hopefully this blue is dry enough to do this. If you paint two wet colors right next to each other, they can tend to blur out into each other and turn into a muddy gray. This looks like it is dry enough that it's not going to do that. Alright. Alright. Here we go. We'll give the butterfly a purple center. And we'll put some little purple blossoms. So what I'm doing is putting the starts of the petals on there, and then I will let those dry. And then I will add in some additional petals so it gives more of a multi-petaled feel. If you just put in all the color at once, then it will tend to blur together and not look much like individual petals on a flower. Adding in some more green so the green stands out more. And I think also I want to put in some little highlight dots, and I think I'll do those with gold. Got some gold that I use right up here for these types of highlight activities. Alright, so now we got some highlights. I think I want that center pillar to be a little darker gray. So we'll grab some gray and go in and make that just a little darker still. All right. And a couple more petals to the flowers. There we go. Now they look a little more flower-like. I'd like to do something a little extra to those purple things. I don't want this to get too complicated looking. And also those areas are still wet, so there isn't too much I can do to them right now without everything spreading and blurring. But I think what I'll try to do is just make them a little darker along the left side. Let's see if I can do that without blurring in too much. Just try to smooth that out a little bit. Alright, so it gets a little more dimension to it. And that'll dry a little lighter too, so. Still has this little light spot up here that I don't want. There's a little light spot down here, see? One can keep working on these things forever, but I think you get the gist. Alright. So that is a medieval letter T. With some flowers and some butterflies. So let me know if you have any questions. Trying to get off some of the cat hair and stuff from it. Let me know if you have any questions. I am happy to help or answer questions. And enjoy your letter T.